Wow, we got so much insanity this chapter, including the deadly truth Sabo found out, the secret of the D initial, Imu-sama and the Gorosei's crazy devil fruits revealed, and more insanity in this epic game-changing chapter, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Chill the Pirate King with it and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing these One Piece reviews and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Nakama by subscribing and hitting that notification bell to turn on all notifications so you don't miss future One Piece videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into this craziest of crazy chapters, spoilers and all. So this chapter is called The Death of Cobra, and as you'd imagine, it will explain the actual death and how Sabo got caught up in it. The narrator says the impossible ruler, as Cobra is seen looking at the empty throne, being not so empty. He thinks to himself that no one is ever supposed to sit there. No individual should have the power to control the world. Imu-sama says Mu, referring to themselves in the third person, shall address two of the points being discussed, and thou must answer a single question in return. Mu, Naruto fans will recognize as being associated with a void or nothingness. In Naruto, Mu, an underrated Tsuchikage, was renowned as the non-person due to his ability which left neither a physical form or detectable chakra signature. Similarly, Imu has been able to go so long as a non-person, so to speak, with people not even knowing they exist. So it seems like a very fitting name. Cobra asks Imu, who are you? As you can imagine, he's in the worst position right now. He's in a room alone with the 5 elders and a person who shouldn't even exist. It isn't looking good for him at all, but at least he can try to get some answers before they take him down. Cobra says he's heard the name Imu before. He says it could be a coincidence, but one of the first 20 was also called that. But I think we all know it ain't a coincidence. So even if it's not Lily, like many thought, but another one of the first 20, it would still mean that Imu-sama is hella old and probably immortal as we thought. Imu-sama comments that such curiosity teeters on impertinence. It will not be dignified with an answer, we're told. However, fortunately, Imu-sama says those initial questions will be addressed. D is the moniker, we're told, of their ancient enemy. In recent times, it has cropped up more frequently, but it is nothing but a faint echo. Interesting comment, especially that faint echo part. Imu goes on to say, those who carry the name do not even know of its true meaning now, and yet this irritation only endures due to Queen Lily's grave blunder 800 years ago. So now it definitely doesn't look like Queen Lily, which makes sense because if she's related to Cobra and Vivi, she probably wouldn't be evil. Imu says the same can be said of those irksome scholars investigating the so-called Void Century. Without that blunder, there would be no pirates chasing the poneglyphs in pursuit of treasure either. If it were not for Lily's incompetence, those vexing relics would never have been scattered all over the world. The release of the poneglyphs was the worst possible outcome for us, Imu continues, so one must wonder whether it was truly a mistake or if it was actually part of some larger plan. And it definitely sounds like it was planned if you ask me. The fact that it was framed as an accident is probably the only reason Cobra and Vivi have even made it this far. So then the Gorosei proceed to reach for their weapons, guns, or sword. Imu-sama says the truth undoubtedly lies in the letter Lily left. So, pray tell, was it a deliberate choice to only refer to her as Queen Lily of House Nefertari? Go on and divulge the full name on her letter as written. Cobra realizes at this point that he's done. He has no chance of leaving the room alive. He says there is no fib he could tell that would satisfy them enough to let him go. The Gorosei straight up point out that his fate was decided the moment he saw the great Imu. And Cobra thinks to himself that yeah, they can't let anyone know that the world's greatest taboo has been broken. And then we see the crazy fact that Sabo is there, listening in on the conversation. He hears what the truth is. The truth is that the letter from Alabasta's ruler 8 centuries ago was signed by Queen Nefertari D. Lily, and then immediately Imu seems to go in for the attack. The attack consists of a black arrow, but honestly it looks like it could be a devil's tail too. I'll leave most of the speculation for the comment section. Let me know what you think it is, a logia of some sort, or as seems most likely these days, a fruit from the most hype category of Mythical Zone. Some speculated that Blackbeard could have the devil fruit, but it could also be that Imu has it, especially when we pay attention to what Sabo is going to say later. Anyways, the black arrow moving thing stabs through Cobra, then Sabo takes action. So a bit late, but I assume that the arrow thing is insanely fast and he acted as soon as he could. It was even sudden with the paneling that Oda used. Sabo then uses Fire Fist Smothered Mate, which is a chess and shogi reference, and as a chess fan, I appreciate that Oda. keep them coming. The attack engulfs the Gorosei and leads up to Imu. Imu is upset, saying, "Where did this one come from?" But then it's revealed that yes, the Gorosei aren't just for show, they do have powers and are fighters. They not only survived the fire attack, we see more shadowy silhouettes that must point to their devil fruit powers, or perhaps they were given these abilities by Imu-sama's awakened devil fruit. Either way, this definitely makes the government powers look a lot stronger. It's a complete 180 from recently. Not only do we now have the Holy Knights in addition to the Admirals, but also Gorosei and final boss Imu. Crazy stuff. Straw Hats and Revolutionaries will definitely have to team up now. Sabo said he was hoping he'd be able to take them out in one move, but in all honesty that would have been so anticlimactic, so it makes sense that he couldn't. And then Sabo says, after all, there's no way I could have known that hell was located here at the very top of the world. So a comment like that again lends to Imu-sama potentially having an awakened devil fruit, and perhaps the Gorosei look like hellish underlings right now. Looking forward to seeing more than just silhouettes and finding out if perhaps they all have mythical zones of their own, or if these are powers granted by Imu-sama. Cobra and Sabo share a quick exchange, where Sabo explains that he, a revolutionary, is saving Cobra because they are more concerned with the monsters above the kings and queens, and then they talk about Luffy. Cobra says he saved him too, and Sabo says, haha, that sounds like him. Then we get this pretty epic panel that definitely looks like Sabo is trying to escape hell, while the largeness of the creatures dominate the frame. I mean, it's just impressive that he managed to escape eventually. And it definitely makes sense why they would try to erase an island to get to him now, after we know what he knew. Cobra wants Sabo to leave him so he can escape without the dead weight. Sabo at first completely refuses, being the stand-up guy he is. It's just funny how the news articles could not get it any more wrong when they framed Sabo for being the one that killed Cobra, even though he tried so hard to save him. Cobra then tells Sabo that he and Vivi share the moniker D, and he finally knows the path Alabasta must follow. Sabo then gets a flashback of discussing Luffy and Ace both having the D in their names and wondering if it's a coincidence or something. They even joke that he could be Sa D Bo, which is pretty hilarious. Back to the present, and again the black arrow stabs through Sabo and Cobra. Sabo is clearly in a lot of pain, so he didn't purposely drop Cobra, but he did drop him as a result of the attack. Then, one of the transformed Gorosei approached Cobra. Cobra quotes Nefertari D. Lily, saying the poneglyphs ... fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn, end quote. Unfortunately, exactly what was said is purposely covered with a scream in the manga. Cobra prepares to hold the Gorosei back from Sabo with his life and says that he's counting on Sabo. Sabo screams King Cobra's name, while Cobra thinks that Sabo must live on. Then we see that of all people, King Wapol has noticed what happened through a hole in the wall, and witnessing this truth is the worst that could happen, and Wapol knows it. He says that himself as he runs, he stumbled upon the biggest skeleton in the government's closet. He doesn't even want to know who that was. They will end him, he cries. We then hear that Cobra and Wapol won't make it to the meeting and see Shirahoshi wanting to say bye to Vivi. However, Vivi is tied up. She asks whose orders are CP0 following. They just say that no one's going to help her and that once her disappearance is made known, she'll probably live the rest of her life like a pet. Vivi wonders if Shirahoshi is alright. Although she's at first told that she should worry about herself, she is also told that Shirahoshi came out of her ordeal unscathed, and Vivi says thank goodness, showing what a stand-up lady she is. It's funny seeing how the members of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet proclaimed their victory and gave their names to the shock of the guests in the courtyard. Not a good look for the government when they can just do that and look so awesome doing it, by the way. And then we even hear that Fujitora's actions helped the Revolutionary Army free the slaves, and that obviously made Greenville angry, so they went at it. So this bit of infighting also helps explain why the revolutionaries did so well. If you ask me, Fujitora is low-key a Straw Hat Grand Fleet member, even if he doesn't know it yet. Vivi starts wondering what to do, and props to her for being strategic and not just giving up. And then, just when things look hopeless, the savior appears. The legend Wapol himself shows up, eating through the walls, and Vivi sees her chance. Wapol says stay out of the way, but Vivi purposely gets in the way and gets carried with Wapol. She asks how much farther is he gonna go, and he says as far as it takes to the ends of the world if he has to, and she says Sounds good to me, let's go. Which definitely makes sense from her perspective, and then we get the perfect ending to the chapter. It's commented that Wapol is running away with a mistress, and the narrator even gets in on it saying they're eloping to start a new life on the run. A hilarious ending to a very huge chapter, and the pacing was great. The chapter is over and we're still moving fast right up to the last panel. Everything was either an insane information drop this chapter or action-packed. Now that the government is looking so strong, you won't want to miss my breakdown of all the Yonko that will have to clash with them soon and their powers. Link on screen to that Yonko video right now, and I'll see you there.